Hi, this is Han Katyan, and we will continue to talk about Russian history. Today's topic is Prince Oleg. Well, first of all, his name is not Oleg, his name is Helga. Helgi, even. How do we know that he is real? Well, you remember I said about chronics, right? And the problem with chronics, it's not precise documents. From historical point of view, that's of course documents, but not accurate, sort of say. So how would you know that somebody exists and something happened really? Well, just read different chronics, different independent chronics. If we're talking about Helgi, this will be Russian chronics and Icelandic chronics, Icelandic saga, and Byzantium chronics, and even Khazarian chronics. So we pretty sure he was real. Oleg was not part of family of Rurik, he was his right hand, and he was from nobility. Why would you know this? Well, before Rurik's death, two little guys of his decide to go to south to take some money from Byzantium. Why? Well, because Byzantium was most richest and powerful country, and if you have any luck, Byzantium army can be in other places, and you can just go and burn some cities, rob some people. Money is good. Those two guys called themselves Escort and Dir, and after they rob a little bit, have some raid on Byzantium, they decide to not go back to Novgorod, to the capital, actual capital of Rus. They decide to capture nearest city, pretty much big, well, for this time and for this region, a trade city named Kiev. They captured the Kiev and decide to become rulers of the Kiev, which was more than, well, effective. After death of Rurik, a little son of his, Igor, was too young to be a ruler, so Oleg became his regent. After that happened, Oleg called to the south, to the Kiev itself, and said to Askoltendir that they have no right to rule any city or any land, because Askoltendir sons of farmers, and even if they fighters, they still just simple fighters, not the rulers. And he, Oleg, is the prince. Well, I think it will be more like Jarl or Konung. Maybe Jarl, yeah? So he should rule the Kiev. Askoltodir was not like this idea, but then Oleg says, "Well, let's talk about it. Let's come to me. Let's talk about it." And these two guys just go to his ship, to ship of the Oleg's, and well, how do I say that? Oleg killed him. Yeah. After that, of course, he gets the Kiev, and Kiev become second capital of Russia, and of course not second. In fact, it's second from historical point of view. Capital, okay? Kiev become a capital. Why Kiev? Do you remember we're talking about trade? From the Guardians to Greeks, right? From the north to the south to the south, from the south to the north, right? So from the south to the north, it was one thing, one very important thing: money. Why it's important? You see, medieval economic, it's more about natural exchange. There is not a lot of money. Most of the time you change your cow to the sheep, your sheep to the goat, your goat to the iron, your iron to the sword, and continue. But money was important. So money goes from the south to the north. So if you much closer to the south, you have more money because you just on enter of this trade zone, right? So Kiev was much shorter. Kiev was on the shores of the Dnieper, which led you to go to the Black Sea, straightforward, and go to the Byzantium, okay? And well, of course, city on the river always easier to defend than city on the plains. Why not go south there? So even more maybe on shores of Black Sea itself. Well, Rus was surrounded by other countries and nomadic tribes. For example, on the northeast it will be Bulgaria of Volga, from the southeast it will be Khazarian Khaganate, and if you go southwest it will be Bulgaria. All these three countries was pieces of former Great Turk Khaganate. Yes, that's what's left from the Great Turk Khaganate Empire. What you gonna do? History. And plus nomadic tribes, of course, which was not good to live among them. Well, trying to build trade city among them was definitely hard work. So Kiev was most acceptable place to begin with, and to trade and to control the trade. More importantly, this way, controlling Kiev and Novgorod, basically you control whole road from the Hungarians to Greeks, just completely. Another thing important about Oleg that we pretty much know, around the year 907, he goes to the war to the Byzantium, and this is example how Chronics works. You see, Chronics says, in the year 907, Oleg gathered 2,000 ships, go to the Byzantium, and try to conquer Constantinople itself. But Constantinople closed the gates and closed the harbor, so you can't just go there. So Oleg ordered to gather the ships on the shores, put them on hills, put the ships on wheels, and just to the gates of the Constantinople. Well, Constantinople says, "Okay, guys, we get it. Okay, we get it. You cool? You cool? Here is your money." And to show you how we deeply scared, you can just take your shield with your some symbols and put it on the gate, okay? And you like conquer Constantinople, okay? So first of all, about the story. Ships on the wheels, ships on the hills and then on the wheels. On the wheels and crew of the ship inside of the ship. Yeah, right, in 10th century. No, probably not. Second of all, how do you imagine these people? Well, how do you imagine, let's see, you are Greek, you're on the wall, you're looking down, and this is 2,000 ships and Rus warriors. How did they look for you? How did they look for you? Maybe like that? No, like this.
To the overtime keel! Come with a heart of steel! Cold is the ocean spray! Your death is on its way! It means you have had your way! It's must die someday!
So does it mean that all of them was Vikings, Scandinavians? No. But from the point of Greeks, it's kind of hard to say the difference. Why? Just because of same clothes, same weapons, same barbaric language. You really think that Common Greek will be saying different between Old Slavic language and Scandinavian language? It's like, they're barbarians. So, and same behavior. Only, let's say, ethnic specialists can say difference between Slavic warrior and Scandinavian warrior at the time. They're using practically same weapon and same tactics. Next thing, 2,000 ships. You see, this is the problem of old chronics, medieval chronics to be precise, that always some madness with numbers. 2,000 ships. Okay, let's see. Mediocre Dracair have crew about from 30 to 50 people, right? So let's say 30, will be something around, right? So 2,000 ships, it's about 60,000 people. 60,000 people. Okay, I want to explain you something. We have documents of Sweden Kingdom of 14th century. 14th century, okay? It's like 400 years later. And document says how much ships have Sweden as an army, okay? Ships with forces, with warriors that kingdom and king can just take and put somewhere. It was 380 ships in 14th century. And you have 2,000 ships in 10th century. Right, no, don't think so. You can say, but Rus much bigger. Yeah, Rus much bigger, but density of people is not the same. Even now, if you can look, the density of the people living in Russia is completely different than Europe. Europe have more density of people per square kilometer. Okay. And the last thing about this story, last problematic thing. You see, Byzantium Chronic doesn't have anything about this on this year or nearest years. So exactly this story probably didn't happen, but we have something in Byzantium Chronic says that Oleg actually came to Constantinople, because Byzantium Chronic says that they paid to Oleg to just stop the raids. Like, okay, take your money, stop raiding. We need to defend our north border. We need to secure our north border. Death of the Rurik, if you look at the topic, is completely now to his nickname, and it will be basically end of the story. You see, we call him Prince Oleg the Prophet. What prophet about him? Well, once upon a time, some old man come to Oleg and says, "Hey mate, you know what? You're gonna die." "Yeah, sure." "Not just that, you will die because of your horse." Okay? And this was really capable old man, because he convinced Oleg that Oleg will die by his horse. So Oleg sent away the horse to the other city with order that this city will take care of his horse because he loved this horse, and forget about it. Several years later, he decides, I wanna look at my horse again. Yeah, let's go. He goes to this city and asks, where is my horse? And they said, well, you see, your horse died out of old age. We care about it, but, old age. So Oleg go to the skeleton of the horse, because horse was just laying around in plains. I don't know. I guess burying the horse was too much. And the moment he touched the skull of the horse, from this skull suddenly appears the snake, bite Oleg, and Oleg died of poison. Sounds nice. So that's why Oleg is the prophet. Yeah, don't try to look at some logic in this. Okay, Oleg the prophet, because he dies of the prophecy. That's all. Okay. But his death more likely happened differently. You see, Byzantium Chronics and Khazarian Chronics says that once upon a time around these years, some Rus prince, as you may understand, it was not much Rus princesses, okay, some prince, go to the raid to the Caspian Sea, Caspian shores, with the Khazarian forces. But Khazarian general decided to betray them and kill him and all his forces. It was not like much, because actually armies of this time was maybe 1,000 people, 2,000 people, several hundred people, especially if you go into the raid. Not much than this. And probably that was Oleg's death, but we will never know for sure, unfortunately, because that was so long time ago. And even chronics, for example, Russian chronics that talk about these times, was written 200 years later after events. So we cannot say for sure. What we can say for sure is that Oleg was important. Important from the historical point of view. He changed the capital from the Novgorod to the Kiev, and this way Rus controls whole trade route from the Guardians to the Greeks for many years later. He made directions to conquer and to fight for next several hundred years. It means to the east, to the southeast, and to the southwest. Why? Because Novgorod was on the north, and Rurik dynasty have friends and some relations with the Sweden's dynasties and Danish dynasties, so we don't have problem on north at the time. But south, money goes from the south. So next several hundred years we will go to the south. Well, at least we will try. That will be all about Oleg. Thank you for your time. That was Han Katan. See you next time. Bye.